It doesn't matter how good the acting is. It doesn't matter how like fun or like cool the fight scenes are, or like how like nostalgic something is. If there are plot holes the size of like Pittsburgh like manholes, like I can't enjoy it. Like it's like the plot is so dumb.
Now streaming Backseat Binge.
I need a new shirt, like a bigger one. This is actually really tight on me. I don't like it.
No, looks good.
Well,
It's one more Spider-Man shirt than what I have.
yeah, that's true. I don't know. I'm just a fan of breathing. So
Fair enough. I feel like that's everybody should be a fan of breathing. So.
yeah, I mean there are kinks. I'm not going to kink shame, but anyways, welcome everyone to Backseat Binge. I'm your host Moya Media. We're here with my guest Dave, the man, also known as David, aka that's all he has. Dave, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Just happy to be here, ready to talk shop on a few different things that we discussed earlier.
Yeah, so you're here because you said some very disrespectful things that I fully expect you to get canceled by the end of this episode, but I'm not pushing for it. I'm just not going to be mad if it happens. Joking. Partially. So you are a fan of Spider-Man, right?
Absolutely, I am.
And now, real quick backstory. David, you and I have been friends for, let's say, when did we meet? Like 2018, 2019, something like that?
Whenever you first started helping Mary with the videos that she made, my sister, that is.
Yeah, I don't remember. Either way,
2018 sounds about right.
Right, somewhere around there. So
Yeah.
you're my old roommate's cousin. Just for the people at home who have no idea who you are, or me, because this is a brand new podcast, so whatever. And I feel like throughout the years, we've pretty much we've clicked because we had like a lot of similar opinions. We've been like a fan of like a lot of similar just topics and whatnot, and like we've never really disagreed until this week. So I had to bring you on the show because you said some very problematic things that we have to address. And I just want you to know, you the homie, but I've deleted people on Facebook for less.
Oh, wow.
Wait, to be fair, I'm petty. I'm petty on Facebook. I deleted a person who spoiled a movie I already seen. They didn't know I seen it though, so like they had to go. Like clearly they didn't care about my opinions.
Yeah, no, that's fair though, because the one ththing that I absolutely cannot stand is movie spoilers.
Right.
Especially when you see them in like the comment section, because
yeah. That being said, potential spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Spider-Verse Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's the full title?
That was Into the Spider-Verse was the first one. Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse, yes. That's what we're...
The Spider-Verse movies in general, I guess you could say.
But at the same time, if you haven't seen them, then like, what are you doing with your life?
It's been long enough.
So, do you want to share this problematic opinion of yours, or...
I guess I'll wear it. So this opinion has to do with how I rate the Spider-Man movies in terms of them being the best. And although I would definitely say that the Spider-Verse movies are in my top 5 as a whole. And I know I started with not being the case, and I thought more on it, but they're still on the outside of my top 3.
So Across the Spider-Verse, I'm more sure I'm gonna mix those two up like the rest of the show.
Right.
Across the Spider-Verse is not in your top 3.
Correct.
So I would say when you first talked about it, you said that it wasn't in your top 5, and to me that's straight up blasphemous. Like that's like,
and I can agree with that.
Yeah, that's beyond wild. But for it to be not in your top 3, that's a little more accepting, but like still bugging. So let's dive deep into this, because like my personal opinion, Spider-Verse is in my top 1. It's the best. It's like by far the best. I shouldn't say by far, but it is the best Spider-Man movie to me.
So the Into or Across?
Across. Sorry.
Okay.
Across. Yeah.
Okay.
Every future reference. Every time I say Spider-Verse, I'm talking about Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
I'm going to mix those two up. But
yeah, because I have another. I'll probably bring this up later, but another take on those two movies in and of themselves. That I know knowing what you just told me, that you would disagree with. So.
I'm guessing Into the Spider-Verse is better than Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So you're not the first person I've heard say that. but you're also wrong. They're also wrong. But anyway, let's get into it. So your top. First off, what is your top? Let's say 5 Spider-Man movies.
My top 5.
Yes.
In order or just no particular order?
Whatever's easier. Like if you have a list, then sure. But if not, then just name.
I'm the worst when it comes to ranking movies because I'll change my mind a bunch. And
no, I mean that's fair.
I can never get like the order right. So I'll just go with in no particular order my top 5. Of course, I guess with the Spider-Verse movies being on the outside of that, they're 4 and 5.
Disrespectful. So both of them are 4 and 5.
Yeah, they're right there at 4 and 5.
Okay.
But I have Across at 5, and I'll get into that in a second. But my
12.
yeah. So my top 3. We'll start there. Of course, Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock. I think.
Okay.
That is my favorite all time.
Okay.
And
very popular opinion. So.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with Peter's character, how it goes through a lot of ups and downs as he kind of experiences, and even kind of hints at this in No Way Home, which I thought was pretty cool. The web blocks and like the existential crisis, like they kind of see, or Spider-Man go through that was interesting, and it was one of the movies that I watched when I was young on repeat. And the train scene, man, that train scene from the clock tower to the train itself, and it was just absolutely incredible. And we're talking about a movie made in 2004.
It's something about the Spider-Man movies; they age so well. I will say that.
Yeah, and I think that's also why in my top 3. I mean, No Way Home is 2 to me. Nostalgia. I'll be the first to admit it. You could probably take out that last part where all the Spider-Men come together, and it's not really that great of a movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a really strong hot take on that. That's basically it.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but I still have it that high just because that's something that we've never seen before.
They knew what they were doing with that. Like they put all their like points into nostalgia. Like
exactly. So. And it hit the sweet spot for me, admittedly.
Right. That's fair.
And then number 3 is the original 2002 Spider-Man.
Okay.
And again, I think a big reason why, yes, it's corny. It has its really cheesy moments in it. But for a movie made in 2002, I thought, the visuals were incredible. And you think about it, going before that movie, how many superhero movies had something that was done to that extent?
Yeah, I think everything was like trash at that point.
And I think that was like the movie that kind of, since then it's evolved. So looking back on it, people might argue it hasn't aged well and there's certain elements to it. But I also, not only that, but I lean in on Willem Dafoe. I just think that he's...
Yeah, I was going to say, you said Spider-Man 1. 100% the fact that he's in it, like, just made me automatically, like, acknowledge that, that's, like, the most respectable answer.
Yeah, I just think he's incredible.
Oh, 100%.
And I love his portrayal of Green Goblin. Now, I'll be the first to admit, and I know those of you watching, listening, might criticize me for this. I'm not much of a comic book reader, so I can't go and compare back to the source material. Like, for me, my Spider-Man intake, I guess you could say, or whatever you want to call it, has been through like video games, movies, and things of that nature.
Right.
But I just think looking at Willem Dafoe, not just the Green Goblin, but just playing a comic book villain in general, I thought like to me he's kind of the standard, just because he plays it so well, and then he comes again, 2021, I think, No Way Home.
End of the year.
2021, and he plays that character again and kills it again.
Right.
And I think, again, you take away the Spider-Man coming together, he carries that movie in a lot of ways.
By far. Honestly, any movie where someone's playing 2 different roles and does it well automatically is like awesome to me. So that's like, he does it so well. I will give him that. Now, so the original Spider-Man is your number 1. I know I'm going to go completely against the grain of what I just said, but I'll just go ahead and just put a number to it just to make things easier here. Okay.
So for me, it's number 1, Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Number 2, No Way Home.
Okay.
Just a lot of the nostalgia.
Right.
Number 3, Spider-Man, the original. Again, a lot of it just having to do with that being really what the foundation for later movies. I think that's why I hold it so high.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
I think, of course, there are elements of the other movies that are left out of my top 3 that do it better than Spider-Man. But that's my top 3, and I'm firm on that. And then 4 is Into the Spider-Verse, followed by 5, Across the Spider-Verse. Biggest reason being for Across the Spider-Verse not being higher. Now, don't get me wrong, those two movies are by far the best animated movies to come out this decade and beyond. Like,
Oh yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Definitely.
The ending of Across the Spider-Verse, I think I understand it's setting up Beyond, which is the next one.
Right.
But I just feel like there was so many loose ends. I at least would have liked to have seen one of them be somewhat tied up by the end of that movie. And I just feel like there's
That's
a
fair.
lot riding on this third movie. And I give them the tip of the cap for being a good, being a good movie in a sense that it sets up another film that I'm sure is
Right.
going to be fantastic, like those two movies were. But I just felt the ending could have been better. And that's kind of where I stand on that.
Okay, that's fair. I guess the reason I hold that movie in such high regards is, first and foremost, so I'm kind of biased in the sense that any movie where like the protagonist and the antagonist are both good people, like that automatically is awesome to me. So like the antagonist, I don't know if you want to consider what's his name, Spider-Man 99.
Yeah, something like that.
I forget his actual name, like
Miguel.
Yeah, Miguel.
Right.
The fact that Miguel is like the bad guy, but like he's realistically doing everything for a good reason, and it actually is like his ideology makes sense, and the fact that he's like trying to stop like Miles Morales from doing something that's going to be catastrophic, and we see that like the effect of like stopping a canon event in that own movie that like was already established. So like you look at Endgame or Infinity War, Thanos says that yo, half of y'all gotta go for the rest of the population to survive. And like you see like glimpses of like his past, like on his home planet, and he was like, yo, I called it, no one listened, they all died. It's going to happen again. Y'all not going to listen to me. Y'all are all going to die.
Yeah.
So it's cool that like, with that example, you see like a little bit glimpse of like here and there and whatnot. But like in Spider-Verse, you actually see the exact like, event that they're talking about. Like they stopped the canon event, and then that whole universe got like erupted or whatever the term was that they used. So like Miguel, although he's like kind of a douchebag, he's not wrong. And like Miles, who like is the good-hearted kid from Brooklyn who just wants to save his dad, which any human being would want to do, is the bad guy technically. Like, because he's going to get the entire planet, the entire universe, like pretty much destroyed because of his selfishness. So like that concept alone puts it above any other superhero. Not gonna say that. Never mind. Not above any other superhero movie, but any other Spider-Man movie, because that's a dope concept. That in itself. And I respect every other Spider-Man movie, but like, I don't know, that alone is kind of like it kind of puts me up there for me.
Yeah, I that is a really good point to bring up, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. And that it is really cool to kind of see, like the way you put it, the protagonist and the antagonist kind of having good intentions to accomplish whatever their goals are, whatever their aspirations are, and I think like that's what really makes in the modern era a good superhero movie in general, is to kind of have you in the audience really question how you should feel from a viewer standpoint about what's going on in front of you. Like, should I be leaning towards Miles? I mean, he represents, like you put it, the embodiment of what any person that has someone that they love, that they have the opportunity to protect, knowing what could happen, being that he would die in his canon event or whatever. Like, I think that definitely does put a lot into perspective to kind of make you feel a certain way. And I think they did do that really well. Again, my only gripe about the movie is I would have liked to see, something.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We were, me and my girlfriend were in the theater, and we were watching it. Towards the end, she leans over. She's like, "Is the movie about to be over?" It's like, nah. It's got to be at least like another half hour. The end. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, damn, it's over."
Yeah. And I was super into it, like ready for, a climactic scene. And then it just kind of says, stay tuned for next time. And in a way,
I ain't gonna lie. That hurt. That definitely hurt.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie about that. But I think even with the story unfinished, like, it was everything that in my opinion, that we've seen up until that point was just like awesome. Like apparently this wasn't that like hidden. It was like a mind blown. Like it was a mind blown moment for me. Realizing Miles G. Morales is Prowler in the other universe.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was the dopest thing in the world. And I talked to my friend and he was like, yeah, it was obvious. They kind of like hinted at it in the movie. And I was like, oh, didn't catch that, but that's dope anyways.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just like really cool to see like how certain people can end up if they don't have the right influence or the right exact like moments leading up to like this specific event, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, I feel like with every other Spider-Man movie, and I'm definitely going to go into No Way Home because that's probably the most enjoyable movie that I don't think is good. Like, but I just, the complexity of it, of Across the Spider-Verse is just like really dope. You also have like all the different types of spider people, which 10 years ago would have annoyed the absolute hell out of me. Because fun fact, I absolutely hate the idea of multiple people having the same mantle. So like I hate there being like multiple Spider-Man, multiple Batman, multiple Flash. Like I always hated that concept.
Yeah.
Like I want Batman to be Batman and Flash to be Flash.
Right. But
like pretty much every superhero or like most of them have like a whole bunch of mantles that like get passed down. Mm-hmm. The only one that like I was okay with that I actually kind of liked was Black Panther. 100% probably because I'm biased, but also because like Black Panther is an actual title in Wakanda. Like it's like passing out the mantle of president in America.
Like that's part of the build up or I guess the lore.
Yeah, like that's something that's been established out there. So like that makes sense.
Cool.
I hate every other version.
Yeah.
But that being said, the fact that there was a gajillion spider people and across the Spider-Verse and like it was still dope. Like I don't know, that's saying a lot to me.
Yeah.
But I do find your list respectable, and I will say that the only issue I have with it is Across No Way Home, because a lot of people say it's like the best movie since Endgame. That it's the most enjoyable movie since Endgame. There's a huge difference.
So yeah, so what would you say? So you're saying that that's not the best Marvel movie to come out since Endgame? Is that your argument?
Oh, I'm gonna get canceled for this one. I think it's the most fun movie to watch. I think it's the most enjoyable. But for me, because of the type of person I am, it doesn't matter how good the acting is. It doesn't matter how like fun or like cool the fight scenes are, or like how like nostalgic something is. If there are plot holes the size of like Pittsburgh like manholes, like I can't enjoy it. Like it's like the plot is so dumb. Yeah. I shouldn't say so dumb, but like there's so many things wrong with the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, finish. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm relax because I'm about to take a tangent real quick.
Yeah, no.
I've come to the realization that with all 3 Tom Holland movies, they're kind of in the same boat. Like they're enjoyable. I like them. Plot holes, so I'm good. Every single movie would have been over in 5 minutes if he just did nothing. Every single movie, he sees a problem that has nothing to do with him. He creates it, like makes it bigger, and then like someone loses out on something because he tried to help or something. So like if he just did nothing, like quick history flashback, the first movie had to do with like those people, the Vulture stealing like the tech and whatnot.
Yeah.
He told Iron Man about it. That should have been the end of the movie because Iron Man told the cops and like everyone's got involved, and like because he got involved and like that ship sunk and a whole bunch of other stuff happened.
That before obviously I'm gonna have you continue, but since you're talking about Homecoming, that is probably very, very close to the bottom. Out of any of the Spider-Man movie, I just did not enjoy Homecoming.
I thought it was alright. I definitely thought it was like a safe movie, if that makes sense. Like it felt like kind of like I enjoyed it. Like I didn't hate it.
You could have called that one Iron Man Jr.
That's another issue I have with the. So I like Tom Holland, but I have issues with his trilogy. Yeah. So another issue, and I'll get into that after.
Yeah, continue with that. I didn't mean to cut off your previous argument, but I'm
like creating new timelines in my mind. Peep the Loki reference, right? So, Spider-Man, Far From Home, all he had to do was not give a complete stranger his like Iron Man tech. The end. Like when you like, all right. And then No Way Home, all he had to do was not get Doctor. To be fair, I I split the blame between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. But all he had to do was not get Doctor Strange to create a spell to make everyone forget and like include like open up a hole for like the multiverse to come through and whatnot. But Doctor Strange is also pretty stupid in that movie. I'm not gonna lie. Like Doctor Strange could have also just not did it. So in that entire trilogy, all he had to do was nothing, and it'd been perfectly fine. Like in every other movie, there's always a problem that already exists, and they bring that problem to the hero typically. The other issue I have with that trilogy is that Tom Holland, I guess they didn't have faith in him or something, because like every single movie is him with another like really big name. Like it's first one's him and Iron Man, second one's him and Nick Fury, third one's him and everyone.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah. No, I agree there. And when you said about so many plot holes, that when I go back and I watch No Way Home again, I have it so high, and again, I'm a victim of this, the nostalgia, and just 100%. The fact like that's the biggest reason why. But when you look at the plot, I guess what I don't understand, like to kind of bring this point up.
Yeah.
So they brought the other Spider-Men and their villains into this universe because it accidentally caused a problem where all of the people that knew Peter's identity were brought into that one spot at the same time.
I think the way they explained it is, I'm
pretty sure because like, just an example, Jamie Foxx's character, Electro. Yeah. I don't think he knew who Peter was in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, he didn't.
So that's one. And then another thing I was curious about is, did Tom Holland really save those other villains when they went back to their universes? And if not, what happens to those universes?
So the way they explained it was extremely dumb. So first off, the reason everyone got attracted to this universe was because the spell that Doctor Strange put was along the lines of, and it's been a while since I've seen it, so forgive me if I like misquoted, but make sure everyone who knows my identity forgets it or whatever. So like I guess the inverse happened whenever he messed up the spell. Like, so it was more so everyone who knew who knew Spider-Man's identity was brought to that universe or whatever. And I was gonna say, like, I don't know if like the Spider-Man were in a new universe and then like Ned opened the portal, but I think they were already in that universe, and then Ned opened the portal looking for Peter Parker, and he found the other two Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But the way they explained it, which was probably the biggest plot hole to me, was they said that basically changing the villains, their like heart, is going to save them. Like that's basically what I got from that. The reason that don't make sense is because like they all got transported before they died, like right before they died.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know, if someone shoots a bullet at you, right? If someone shoots you, right? And the bullet's like halfway like on the way, and you get teleported, you go to a new dimension because you're a villain or whatever, blah, 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 have a change of heart, and you get teleported back. Is the bullet going to change its mind now? Like, how does that work? Because, like, a lot of people, like, a lot of those villains were in this predicament where, like, they were on their way to death. Like,
yeah. And not only that, but what happens to that timeline? So Norman Osborn lives. You don't really get that arc with Harry. No. In Tobey Maguire's universe,
who is older, but I'm guessing the villains are the same age they were when they died. So like,
there's a lot,
yeah.
And I guess like, I don't know, like as brutal and as gruesome as it sounds, the only way that I can accept it to make sense is that they just end up dying having been redeemed. Like they're still gonna die, but like
at least they died good.
Yeah. And that's so crappy, but you know,
which is terrible because like this is probably like a really demonic take of me. If someone killed someone you loved, right, and that person is going to die anyways, I feel like I might as well get the body. Like I don't like what's the like what's the problem then?
Yeah, right.
Because like if like Norman Osborn is going to die regardless. And it might make Tom Holland Spider-Man feel better if he killed him. I'm not going to tell him to kill him. I don't know if I'm gonna stop him though.
Yeah.
Like my man lost his only family like yesterday.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't know if I'm gonna stop all that.
in a
but
brutal fashion, mind you. Like
Yeah.
So
But-
the more we talk about this, I'm like, is that really my number 2? Like, I don't know.
So, and here's one thing I want to point out is that like, as much as I can go all day like crapping on this movie, but I do want it to be completely known that like, saying a movie has like a bad story to it, or like, you know, me coming at a movie or whatever, it's completely different than like your level of enjoyment. So like, I liked the movie a lot. Like it was really fun to watch. And I think it's fine though. Like if that's your favorite movie, if that's your number 1, it makes sense. There's a lot of reasons why that would be someone's favorite movie, and it's cool for you.
Right.
So like for me, it's nowhere near my top anything, to be honest. But I like the Ghost Rider movies. Have you seen them?
No.
They are absolutely garbage. And I will be the first one to admit that. But I like Ghost Rider though, so I don't care.
Yeah.
So I think that's perfectly fine. Like I hope no one like, you know, cries about this or like whatever, but like I'm okay with you crying about it cuz you know, grow up. But I think there's just like a lot of issues with those movies, and I think the biggest thing that bothers me about that movie completely is that I don't think they tried. Like as far as like storyline goes, like I think they knew they had all these big names, so like the story could have been anything.
Yeah.
And like I don't feel like they even tried to make it make sense.
Yeah, I definitely think they could have spent a little bit more time. Excuse me. In the writers' room with that
a little bit. Yeah.
But I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't mention perhaps the greatest. Like I didn't even talk about it yet because I think it might be the greatest movie ever made. Spider-Man 3. I'm totally kidding.
Yeah. So I have a opinion on that. I'm the only one who didn't hate the movie, I guess. But again, that's bias. I'm a huge Venom fan. So like,
yeah, I love it because I think it's aged well in a sense that it is a movie that you could sit down and watch and make fun of it and enjoy it for what it is. Right? So in 2007, 2008, whatever, like the years it came out, as a kid, you're going to love that movie.
Right.
You know? As an adult, probably not so much.
No.
Like if I were to sit back and say, seriously, is that a good movie? Yeah, probably not. But, you know, not that long ago, you remember Nate Bryant and and
the homies.
he used to be in Walk on Mars with Mary. They were around like doing some band stuff, whatever that entailed. But we like watched that movie and just picked it apart. And picked it apart in a sense we cracked jokes, made memes, and just, you know, really went all in on like the Bully Maguire stuff. And that's why that movie is just so rewatchable to me, because it's like, hey, like let's sit down, watch a movie that's awful, and just laugh at it and enjoy it simultaneously. And you'd be hard pressed to find a movie for that better than Spider-Man 3.
I will. Ghost Rider 2. I'm telling you, watch that movie.
Okay, you know, I'll put that on my list.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
That's probably the worst Marvel movie, honestly.
Okay,
like of all of them. But I will say, honestly, if you get enjoyment out of a movie for it being really good or really bad, mission accomplished. Like that's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But I seen there was a tweet that went viral or whatever about all of the Spider-Man movies and Spider-Man from PS5. So I don't know what to call that universe or whatever, but between Tom Holland and let's go with that. Insomniac universe. Insomniac verse. Between Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Insomniac verse.
Yuri Lowenthal.
Sure. That's his name?
That's his name, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit of a fan over there. I see it. Okay.
I think I might know where this is going, and I have an answer ready for you.
So for the people at home who don't have mind reading abilities, who is the strongest of the four?
Yuri bodies all of them.
Really? PS5 Spider-Man bodies them.
Big time.
Show your work.
So he took on the Sinister Six single-handedly in the first game. You haven't really seen any of the other Spider-Men do that. Granted, he came pretty close to perishing, and he had his support from, you know, like his Aunt May, and obviously not on the front lines. May's not throwing hands, but
I don't know. That DLC could have came out.
Yeah, like, and he has his support in his own way, but just the fact that he was able to really have his back up against the wall to the extreme and take down essentially the Sinister Six in a night was incredible, in my opinion. And you look at the other movies that are made, and granted, you're not going to jam pack a movie with 6 villains. It just doesn't make for a good movie. And I think that's part of the reason why Spider-Man 3 wasn't that good of a movie, because they try to do too much with different villains.
Right.
And I'm sure there's a right way to do it. I just thought they didn't do it the best in that movie. But I'm getting off track here. I think Yuri Lowenthal, granted, he's made for a video game where you're literally going around beating these criminals pretty much half to death.
Sometimes full stuff. Like,
yeah. But I have the opinion that I do think that he would, if you pound for pound, he's winning a fight. And I feel the same about Miles against Spider-Verse Miles. I mean,
okay,
Miles in his game, the Spider-Man Miles Morales game, he literally ate a nuke.
My man is a tank. I don't know what he's eating or like how he's building. Yeah. My man can take some hits, yo. Yeah.
Granted, my favorite, I'm always going to have bias towards Tobey Maguire, because that was the guy that I came to love and grow up with, from a Spider-Man fan perspective. But I think in terms of the strongest and who I would take in a fight, I'm taking Yuri Lowenthal.
Okay, that's fair. I would say as far as favorite, I agree. I share that opinion, because 100% like nostalgia and biased, I guess. I've seen that people call his movies boring or call Toby boring, and I guess that's true. I don't really know. I like it though. Like, I used to hate the Andrew Garfield films because like I felt like they try to do the exact opposite and they try to make him too cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't like you. But I will say, kind of getting off track, No Way Home made me realize we need more Andrew Garfield.
Oh yeah.
We need more of him.
100%.
And I'm sorry. Like I was the biggest Andrew Garfield hater.
Yeah.
And like I seen him in this movie and I was like, yo, I apologize.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'll be the first to admit, I didn't really have any interest in really watching the Amazing Spider-Man films until after I saw his performance. And like, I've seen bits and pieces, and like, I don't know that I can't remember because it's been a while, if I watched those 2 movies just before I went to see it or just after. But I did go back at some point and watch The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, really based on his performance in No Way Home and things that I've heard about it leading up to it. Actually, thankfully, I was able to avoid spoilers. I didn't get any. Oh, wow. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
To see that in theaters without having that spoiled for me. But I just felt that Andrew Garfield, to see his character portray like an edgy but kind of like almost a darker tone Spider-Man in a future project would be really, really cool. He references it in that, No Way Home, but
he stopped holding his punches and whatnot. Yeah, I would love to get like the Wolverine style Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But like just dark and him not caring about like anyone, pretty much like a Miguel type of Spider-Man.
Actually, that's a great comparison.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty dope. I would love to see that. Hopefully that happens. I kind of doubt it, but it would be really awesome. But there are rumors, potential spoiler, that we're gonna get those 2 Spider-Man back in like the Secret Wars or like Kang Dynasty, like one of the Avengers movies. Like there's gonna be like some type of like crossover and whatnot. So
I like it, but I don't at the same time, because I just have this, I guess more so towards Toby than Andrew, like this. Closer to the mic. Sorry. Whenever I start talking, I move around and I talk with my hands, and I apologize. But how was I going to say? Oh, I'm just worried that they're going to kill Toby off, and I would hate that. And that's why I'm like, it would be really cool to see him again, but they better not kill them off.
Yeah, I thought he was going to die in No Way Home. Like when when he got stabbed, I was not ready for that. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
It would have made a lot of sense if he did die in that film, but like I still didn't want to see it. I wasn't ready for that. No one told me. You didn't prep me.
Yeah,
I didn't expect to see a murder today.
Yeah. But yeah, I just that's my biggest concern with bringing those characters back. I definitely want to see more Andrew Garfield.
Oh, 100%.
but I'm almost at peace with Toby riding off into the sunset with how they left him in No Way Home.
My man's married to MJ. Like, he got the girl. Like,
Yeah.
I feel you. I see it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I would agree. I'm okay with like us never seeing him again, just because like as much as I want to, his story's complete. Like I feel like it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like beating the bush,
Being a dead horse.
Yeah. What's that term where like you mix like a whole bunch of like analogies? I was gonna say beating the bush, like beating around the bush. Like,
Beating the dead bush.
Yeah. Burn that bridge when you get there. Like, but
Burn that horse when you get there.
Point is, I do that a lot. I think it would be beating a dead horse at this point with Toby coming back, but being a fan, I won't be mad at it.
Right.
So whatever they decide to do, I'm cool with. But so you think, all right, so I meant to throw in Miles from the Spider-Verse mix into the mix. So like the 4 Peter Parkers with Miles from Spider-Verse. Actually, yeah, with both Miles.
Okay.
So like 6 Spider-Man total.
Okay.
Who's on top? Who's the strongest?
Strongest, I think I gotta say Insomniac Miles.
I was gonna say, he kind of strong. Like he scrapping with Venom.
Yeah, I mean he is it a video game too soon to kind of hint at a spoiler or
Potential spoiler warning, but at this point, like, do better. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Play the game.
yeah, play the game. This is our official Spider-Man 2. I don't know if sponsorship. I'm like, is that legal to say that even though we're not official?
I mean, if they sue us, that means they found us. Which means we get some views.
Right. But it definitely play the game, and I definitely want to say that I think just based on the fact that he did fight Peter in the game and he won whenever Peter was kind of too far gone.
Yeah.
With the Venom stuff. So that kind of hints at what it would look like if they fought even without the Venom factor. And I think that Miles still has a lot of raw power that Peter doesn't have in that universe, like the bioelectricity stuff, which I think is really cool.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that he can be invisible. In a fight, the strongest man doesn't always win. Mm-hmm. I think, Peter level-headed, minus Venom versus Miles level-headed. I think it could go either way.
Right.
But in terms of what we've seen and in terms of like their abilities in and of themselves, I think Insomniac's Miles is probably the strongest out of them.
Yeah, I would agree. Raw power definitely goes to Miles. But if we're talking, I guess level-headed, if like Peter is level-headed, then I feel like it's most likely gonna go his way. But if both characters are on a like murder rampage, like they just want to kill, I would give it to Miles, because Miles was holding. I don't want to say he's holding back, but he wasn't trying to kill Peter.
Right. Exactly.
And he still won. So, which is like restraining someone is way harder than like killing someone.
Yeah.
Because like you have to like hold yourself back and whatnot. So like I think that does show how strong he is, and I don't know if I necessarily like that. Like I love Miles. Don't get me wrong. I had to wear the shirt to represent, and like Across the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man of all time. But or maybe not. I don't know. Cancel me in the comments. I don't know if he necessarily they should have made him stronger, because like I don't know. I feel like strength like should have came with like experience, if that makes sense. So it makes sense for him to be like naturally strong, but like I kind of felt like it was a little unbelievable for him to like be able to stop Venom's Peter Parker.
Yeah. I mean, excuse me, for the purpose of it being in a video game, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I would agree, and I know earlier in this conversation I'd said about how like Peter bodied the whole Sinister Six on his own. So you kind of add that factor in Peter's will to win a fight, to to overcome any adversity that he faces, which granted both of those characters had faced a lot of adversity between their games and so forth. But I think that's why you could make an argument for Peter winning that fight, because of his experience and because of his will. But in terms of raw power, with what Miles is able to do,
Yeah.
that's where I give him the edge.
100%. So have you seen the whole discourse about Miles being Miles Morales and not certain people's Spider-Man?
Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is Spider-Man.
Right.
I mean, I think it's cool the way that they've done it. I mean, Miles Morales is Spider-Man. Peter Parker is also Spider-Man.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with there being two Spider-Men.
I think it's sorry, were you?
No, that's it.
I think it's so I do get the criticism. I don't necessarily agree with it, but people like what they're already used to. So like there are the handful of racist people who just don't like Miles because he's black, whatever. And obviously their opinions don't matter. But there are people who have an idea of who a character is and don't like change. And a lot of that has been you can see that in a lot of these like live action films where they'll change the race of someone, some character or whatnot, like Ariel being black now instead of white and whatnot. And as a black person, I would say like, if it's up to me, I would keep the character the same because like, if I had to choose, I would like rather not change, but at the same time, I don't care that much.
Right.
Like it's a fake character. Like who cares? That being said, Ariel did awesome. I don't know if you've seen.
I need to.
As someone who does not care about Little Mermaid or Disney princesses at all, I'll tell you, she did an amazing job, and I get why they hired her. Like it makes so much sense.
Yeah, I was in 8th grade. I was in a version of The Little Mermaid Jr. I played the role of Prince Eric. So
You sorry. What?
yeah, I don't know if I ever told you that. I mean, obviously, my sister Mary is the one that has always been more, into the arts with singing and performing.
Right,
but I
right.
do have a little bit of background in being in musicals and stuff.
You at 8th grade, you said you were Ariel.
I played the role of Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid. I was not Ariel. Although, give me a red wig and we'll see what happens. But
Hey, listen, man. $50 is $50. Is all I'm saying.
I'll do anything to make a buck. You never know. Yeah. I mean, not anything, but
Times is hard. But
just about anything.
Okay, yeah. Well, there's like 2 things on my list that I won't do, but
Right.
Okay, so yeah. I'm definitely talking to you about that later because I'm actually kind of interested. But back to Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
100% lost my train of thought. Not gonna lie, that threw me off.
So we were talking about representation for different characters.
Right. So yeah, Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and that's been something that's been like iconic for way before any of us were born. So I get the idea of like Peter being Spider in like a lot of people's minds and that not wanting to change. But at the same time, if the creators are telling you this is how it's going, that's not an opinion. That's just how it is now.
Right.
Like,
absolutely.
So the only issue I have with it is I don't like the idea of mantles. Like I said earlier, like I don't like the fact that there's like a bunch of Batman, a bunch of Flash, whatever. But I also don't care. Like if they say Miles is Spider-Man, the Miles is Spider-Man. Like it is what it is. So I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with his final suit. I will say that. I didn't hate it. I'm the only one who didn't hate it, but I didn't like it all like that.
I completely forgot about the tragedy that was that final suit until you mentioned it. Now I'm just mad all over again.
Yeah, you didn't. You're not a fan of the suit sponsored by Crest?
Yeah, I don't understand how that mask works with his hair sticking out at the top. And like, does the mask ever slide down to like reveal part of his forehead? Like, there's just a lot that. Not that that really matters. It's just it looks bad.
It matters more than than you think, because I don't know. I'm just thinking like logistically, that looks like a kind of a difficult outfit to put on. So if there's a kid in a burning building, like, hold on, give me 10 more minutes than normal to like make sure my hair looks right and all that stuff.
Does he pull it up or does he pull it down? The mask, that is.
$1 million question. I believe that it takes a lot longer than it probably should. I also think that other than it just not looking good, I don't know. This is just me. I'm not showing you anything about myself
Yeah.
Like if I'm a superhero who has an identity that I want to hide and protect, you're not knowing anything about me. You're not gonna know what I like, my skin tone. You're not gonna know what I sound like. You're not gonna know. I'm a crouch, so you don't know how tall I am. Like, I'm hiding everything. You would never figure it out.
You're just like, what is it? Crab walking or
Right,
duck walking in the buildings. Just
I'm telling you, either that or I'm tiptoeing, so I look taller. I'm putting like those what are those things? Those foam things in my shoes. So I'm
like the insoles. Like
yeah. So they'd be like, "Oh my god, look at that 6'6" superhero!" Like
someone pulls out a measuring tape. They're robbing a bank. They just pause what they're doing. Holy cow! Are you 6'6"?
Yep. I'm telling. Girls would point that out.
yeah. No kidding.
But
it just felt like an Adidas commercial or advertisement 100%. For me. That whole look just not good.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It was funny though at the end of the game when like he pulled that suit out and he thought he ate with that design. Like,
yeah, big time.
He thought he was doing something, and yeah, the internet did something, and that thing is roasted.
I know. For me as a player, what it did for me was pause game, switch uniform or suit almost immediately,
instantly.
Do you have a go-to suit that you would?
So for Spider-Man, for Peter Parker, again, spoilers. The white symbiote suit is the dopest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It is really cool.
So that's my default. I rock that one.
Yeah.
And for Miles is the Spider-Man 99 suit or Spider-Man 2020 suit. That's what it's called. The one where he has the jacket and like the
the headphones.
Yeah. What's that? The Daft Punk helmet, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, that's good.
Yeah. Those are my two favorites.
Okay.
What about you?
So as soon as I unlocked the Raimi suit, I had to main it. I just
100%.
have 100 bias there.
Yeah.
When he had the Venom, I would go to the black Raimi suit. Yeah.
I like that.
And so I stuck with it, but I do agree that I think it's like the anti-Venom suit is what they called it.
Yeah,
the white one. That is super cool. And what I really like is that whenever you use that like ability to just kind of go off, like you click in like the two analogs and then it like you default to the anti-venom suit for that brief period of time, no matter what suit you're wearing. I don't know if you ever picked up on that. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's a nice touch because it shows that this is still a part of him.
Right. So, okay.
And then I was just going to say the Miles suit. I think it went with the advanced tech suit.
Is that, I forget what that looks like offhand, but.
Or it was either that or the, was it the programmable matter suit? Either I would kind of go. I would fluctuate with Miles more than Peter. I tried out a bunch of different ones, but I try to keep the same like color scheme that black and then red look for him. But I did play around with. I think the one was like the tracksuit.
Okay,
yeah. I like the different color variations of that one too. But
move over a little bit.
Oh yeah, see, like I'm leaning because I'm trying to. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you want to talk
first time on a podcast that you can see I'm still
good.
figuring out how to do things here. But, but that's the end of my thought there.
Okay, so I honestly think like 90% of the suits are dope. So like honestly, I'd be cool with like random, like just picking any of them. It'd be cool. I was gonna say earlier that I love the idea of anti-venom. I love how it came about. I love because that makes sense. I also love the idea of like pretty much putting Peter Parker on the same level as Miles, because without the anti-venom, I feel like he's not even coming close to seeing Miles. Mm-hmm. But like giving him that like kind of edge is like it makes sense.
Yeah,
like, it's dope. Like I like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope they keep it. For the next game. I hope they don't figure out a way, because I saw something like just general internet stuff, whether it was like a Reddit thread or Twitter. They're saying like one DLC, like they have to figure out how he's going to ditch the anti-venom suit, or that's probably going to be part of the next game, or they think that there's going to be a way for him to shed it. Like it's a temporary thing. But I like the idea of it being like unique to this version of Spider-Man for the next game. Yeah,
100%.
So I'm hoping they do keep it. And I'm also on the lookout for DLC content, which I saw something on Facebook the other day that It was probably a fake ad, but it had like pictures of the different DLCs that they're planning to release with like Carnage, and then more of a backstory on Venom, and then the third one was I think Black Cat, and it had dates on it, and I'm like, there are dates on it. Is this legit? I couldn't find it anywhere else on the internet, so I got scammed by Facebook. Which
I seen that same thing.
If you're over the age of 60, that happens just about every single day. But.
Yeah. Grandparents getting scammed by Spider-Man DLC.
yeah. Oh darn.
I seen that same thing, and I think that post was fake, but I think there's probably some type of truth to it.
Yeah.
Because I mean that just makes way too much sense. But I do want to get into potential, like, what we wish would happen in future games and whatnot, or what we think is going to happen. But before we do that, before we move on to the next game, we got to talk about this game. The Game Awards just passed, right?
Yeah.
And Spider-Man was nominated for 7 awards and won 0. How do you feel about that?
I would say it's disappointing, that many nominations with nothing to show for it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit here and knock on the games that did win all of those awards. No, but I will say, like, Baldur's Gate 3, again, never played it. Mm-hmm. I looked into it, not my kind of game, and that's okay. If people enjoyed it, if people really felt that should have won Game of the Year and all those other awards, that's awesome. But I was a little taken back by a game like that. From what I was able to see from it, would win Best Performance, and I think that's the biggest gripe for me. I thought that Yuri Lowenthal, for his portrayal of Spider-Man in this game, granted, I think there's an argument to be made that the first Spider-Man game had a little bit more emotion with May's death for his character. I mean, there was some with Harry and all that in this game, but I did see someone bring up a point that I think was one of the reviews for the game before I played it, that the story it feels like a comic book, and you're really invested, and there's a lot of action, and that is all very true. And they said that it's not quite as, I think they used like heartfelt as the first game, which I don't know how I feel about that. But I think out of any of the snubs, if you will, I would have liked to have seen him win at least that award.
Right.
In terms of Game of the Year in and of itself, it would have been great to see Spider-Man win it, obviously. But I think it being a PS5 exclusive probably worked against them. Whether that's fair or not, I feel like that has to be a factor.
Possibly.
And, I have a PS5, so if you have an Xbox or just play PC, I know it's coming out on PC eventually. I think 2 years from now.
Probably.
If you have an Xbox, I'm sorry to hear that, but it doesn't really matter. But
yeah. So I will say. So first off, Baldur's Gate, right? I have some friends who play it. I didn't know about it. I never would have heard about it if it wasn't for them, right? So from what I understand, it's basically D&D. A game I've also never played. But D&D is the type of game where, like, you have like a campaign, and you can that campaign can go any which direction. So it's like extremely open-ended from what I understand. Baldur's Gate, the biggest draw to it is the amount of stuff you can do in it, and like how versatile it is to do like certain things, or combat, or like, there's a billion different storylines and stuff. Like, apparently, like, just overall, there's a lot of content. And the biggest reason why this game was so popular, from what I understand, again, because I never touched it or even heard of it before my friends mentioned it, is it was pretty groundbreaking for that industry, that genre of games.
Okay.
So I don't really know to what extent or whatnot, but apparently there was like a lot of drama with like other games, like putting out crappy games, or like other studios, like big time studios, putting out like games that like should have been way better, but like just being lazy about it. But then Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and there's just like so much, and they just put so much effort and work into it. I seen recently there was an update. I don't know what this means in terms of like enjoyment or like, watching or whatever, but like there was a patch that added like, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 lines of dialogue, like a free patch. So yeah, and like the amount of content and stuff that's into it is like apparently like really impressive. No experience. I'm actually trying to get into it because I have friends. I actually just bought the game. So
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
You have to let me know how it is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. As someone who doesn't care about it, I don't care about it. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get into it. I was told that the beginning is boring. So I'll definitely text you and let you know.
Yeah, I think like for me, just from what I've seen from that game, the combat is like turn based,
Basically,
and
yeah.
that's never really been my style. I know another game similar to that that's wildly popular, of course, is like the Pokemon games.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to knock them because I mean, you know, it's not my game personally. I've just never really gotten into them, but I recognize how popular and
Right,
you know how cool it is even to sometimes just kind of watch other people play and see what
Right.
their thought process is behind doing different attacks and whatnot. But me personally, I'm not patient enough for that as a gamer. You know, if I get the stealth versus guns blazing option, I'm blowing everything up.
As you should. Respect.
Yeah. So like that's just always been my style when it comes to games, and I think games like that, it probably require a lot of thinking about
Right.
different strategy, and that's great, and I'm happy for you truly. But as for me, I need games where I don't really have to use my brain as much. Just
That's
let me
fair.
blow stuff up.
I will say, so kind of little bit of a tangent. So I grew up playing Zelda, right? And I don't know if you played any Zelda games, but they're basically problem solving games. And I didn't realize the game was making me smarter.
Yeah.
So it did that, and like now I'm like really big on problem solving. So with you look at Pokemon, for example, I can't speak on Baldur's Gate. Maybe it's similar. I don't know, but I'm also a pretty big fan of Pokemon. I hate like the storyline of Pokemon. Like it's the same thing every single game, but the competitive aspect is that it's pretty much a strategy game, and like you have to figure out how to get past your opponent. Like it's basically chess in a sense. So knowing that like you have, I don't know, Pikachu, and your opponent has, I don't know, Charmander or something like that. Like in competitive Pokemon, that would be the dumbest matchup. You would never see that happen. But let's just say you do. You have a certain mindset of like, you know, what Charmander is capable of. And now that you have Pikachu or whatever, you have to figure out like what makes the most sense to do whatever. Like, do I want to attack? Do I want to switch out?
What makes them tick?
Yeah. Where's that from?
Yeah, it's from different things. Just
What makes Charmander tick? Like what?
yeah. It's like one of those 1950s
Yeah.
mystery.
Get into their minds.
Yeah, yeah.
Be
like,
the Pokeball.
like the trench coat and the cap.
Yeah.
Sitting in the corner, nobody knows you're there until you make that comment. We need to figure out what makes them tick.
How long have you been here?
75 days. It's like, what?
But point is, it's like a strategy game, and it's like really satisfying when you think that someone's going to do something, so you make that read and you act accordingly, and you're right. That's like the most satisfying thing in the world. It also hurts when you're wrong.
Yeah.
But anyways, so Baldur's Gate, that's like pretty much the type of game that is, I think. I don't really know. So that the impact alone makes me realize that like it probably, I don't want to say deserves because it still hurts my feelings, but like I guess I'm not that mad because I really wanted Zelda to win. Because you know I'm a Zelda fan more than anything. If
Yeah,
you
I can see over here.
and
in the mug,
yeah. I think Zelda Tears of the Kingdom deserved it as well, to be honest. But I guess the impact of the game of Baldur's Gate 3, I'm not too mad at it, and it's something that like that seems like a game that was like for the community, you know.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people supported it, and like they did like a lot. It was like a lot of back and forth between like the devs and the community. I will say, hot take, I guess, on Spider-Man is I don't think Spider-Man didn't deserve it, but not only am I not surprised they didn't get it, because I'm actually kind of surprised it got nominated, to be honest. Like, not even because like I don't think it was a good game. I think there were other games that were bigger that like that probably that I thought people would have voted for more. Like I didn't play this game, but Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, I did play that, and did that get any nominations for anything? Looking back on,
Handful,
I think
maybe.
and that's a bit surprising. But I think a lot of the backlash with like the J.K. Rowling stuff, has something to do with it. Which, you know, I played the game, I read the books, saw the movies. I enjoyed the game. I had a lot of fun
As you
playing
should.
it, and it was super cool to walk the grounds of Hogwarts, being a bit of a Harry Potter nerd.
Right.
I really enjoyed it. Another game I was surprised I didn't win anything was Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
That yeah, I know it got nominated for a few things.
There were a lot of bugs on launch, and I think that
Okay.
worked against it.
Yeah.
I know I had said that I felt that Yuri Lowenthal should have gotten best performance. What's his name? Cameron Monaghan, who portrays Cal Kestis in the Star Wars Jedi Survivor game. He also put on a really, really good performance for his game. It was nominated. It didn't. Obviously, he didn't win.
Right.
But for me, those were the top two, and neither of the top two won for that. But again, I never played Baldur's Gate, so I can't really speak for the winner of that. I was just a little surprised that.
Right. I would say the same thing. Again, don't know the performance that was portrayed in Baldur's Gate, but yeah, I really thought Spider-Man was going to win that nomination, if anything.
Yeah.
And it is kind of surprising. I can't remember the other nominations it had for other things, but the best performance, I would have bet my life on it that he was gonna that Spider-Man was gonna win that award, and it didn't.
Yeah.
But if it makes you feel better, Zelda's my favorite. Tears of the Kingdom is dangerously close to being my favorite Zelda game of all time, but just saying a hell of a lot. And that won one award.
Yeah.
It beat Spider-Man for best action adventure game.
Okay, which I can see that. I feel like Tears of the Kingdom or the Zelda games in general probably have a more immersive world to explore.
I think. Sorry, not to.
No, that's it.
I think the biggest issue with why Spider-Man didn't win as much, I can't speak on the best performance or anything like that, but as far as Game of the Years or best action adventure game or whatever the other awards might have been, is specifically Game of the Year awards. I think Spider-Man was the only game on that list that played it safe. And what I mean by that is every other game, I think, I'm going to say every other game is pretty drastically different from its predecessor. Tears of the Kingdom is somehow the same game as Breath of the Wild, but also extremely different. It's way bigger. It's way more mechanically different. There's a lot more characters. And you see a drastic change between the two games because they're set in the same place. But you see a drastic change between the two. Pretty much every NPC. Mm-hmm. Baldur's Gate 3, I heard it's pretty impactful. I don't know. I didn't really play it. I can't remember the other games on the list. But I do know Spider-Man, if you look at it, realistically, there's a bigger map. And that's pretty much it. It's just a continuation of more story. Yeah. And there's not really much different about it as far as a gameplay aspect or
the way you travel, it's faster. Yeah,
that's true.
The web wings was another, unique addition. But beyond that, I would agree completely in that regard.
Now, I will say from my own personal standpoint, I don't care that it's much different. That is pretty much the same. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But I think that worked against it more than it worked for it.
Yeah, I definitely think innovation is a key factor in deciding who wins awards like that, and that.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why Zelda didn't win this year as well, because Tears of the Kingdom is pretty pretty innovative compared to Breath of the Wild, which came out in 2017. But the scale between, as far as being impactful or innovative, I should say, this difference between those two games are tiny compared to the difference between Breath of the Wild and every other Zelda game that came out before it. So I think if Tears of the Kingdom could have had that same impact, it might have won this year, but it just wasn't as strong as its previous game. And I think Baldur's Gate 3 just had a huge impact. So it's
yeah, I mean, as evidenced by all the awards that it won, even though I never heard of it, it definitely reached another realm of the gamer community.
Oh, 100%.
Happy for them.
And it came out on Xbox. It came out, so it was only on, I guess, PS5 and PC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I guess the Game Awards that night, it came out on Xbox.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, fun fact. But I think, is there any... So let's get back to Spider-Man, because we talk about a whole bunch of other stuff.
See how we're doing we're good on time?
Yeah, I think we're fine. A few more, whatever. Yeah. So what do you want from both DLC from Spider-Man 2 and future Spider-Man games? or like how do you see it playing out?
Okay. DLC, I know it's probably going to focus on, I know it was a Facebook ad that was turned out to be fake, but I feel like it very well could go this direction, focusing on Carnage for one of the DLCs. Mm-hmm. Perhaps more of a Venom backstory or an expansion on Venom, maybe kind of tying in Eddie Brock's character to the story of Venom that could potentially set up a Venom game in and of itself.
Are we playing as Venom in this DLC?
Maybe if they're looking to, I mean, we already in the game you play as Venom for a brief period of time, so we know that they can make that happen.
Right.
That's a possibility. Would I want that? I mean, the game's called Spider-Man 2 at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the third one, there's a Black Cat potential, which I don't know if you're playing as Black Cat. Again, I don't really want to see that as much. I also think that, again, that was based on that Facebook thing that I saw, so it could be completely wrong. What I really want to see is definitely leaning in on Carnage and then Kraven's family. Because did you finish all the side stories?
I did not.
Okay.
Feel free to spoil it, though.
Yeah, so I think he's called the Chameleon. Is a character well known in the comics. Again, I didn't read the comics, but I know he's an established character. He's revealed to be in the game by the end of it. Like, you go through the side mission and then the big reveal is that, oh, he's a chameleon or something along those lines. So there's probably going to be some kind of expansion on that story because they kind of left it open-ended. I think that'll be DLC.
Right.
And then I want to say Kraven's, again, I could be wrong. I'll just generally say a relative of Kraven is revealed to still be around by the end of another side story. So you have Carnage, you have Chameleon, and then you have a Kravenov, I guess, generally speaking, that last name. And I think it's his daughter. It could be his sister. I would have to go back and look. So I apologize for not doing my homework.
That's fine. Yeah.
So it would be cool to kind of see like a little bit of a story. I know people hated on The City That Never Sleeps, the last DLC package for the first PS5 or the PS4 Spider-Man game.
Okay.
That got a lot of hate. But again, I'm just into the gameplay. The story is so-so. I don't care. It's more content.
That's fair. That's fair.
And regarding the next full release, I think we're going to see an expansion on Miles kind of taking that lead role.
Yeah.
I know Spider-Man 2 seemed to be Peter's story with Miles. He had his own stuff going on, but you definitely felt that it was more focused on Peter.
Yeah, it was definitely Peter Parker featuring Miles.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be reversed for this next one.
Okay.
Miles Morales featuring Peter. They better not kill Peter off. I know there's some internet speculation. Better not.
I actually thought Peter was going to get killed off in Miles's game.
Well, yeah, which would have made sense.
Yeah.
So I think, of course, Green Goblin's going to be the main villain.
Oh, 100%.
Doc Ock's going to make a return because apparently he has a plan. Again, this heavy spoiler stuff right now, and I apologize for those at home.
Nah, they deserve it at this point.
Yeah. I think we're probably going to see something in terms of like the backstory of Miles' home life, perhaps him kind of taking the next step going into college, question mark.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's also an open-ended possibility with is it Madam Web or a Spider Girl or something along those lines who's sort of introduced. You might be able to speak more on that because I'm not sure.
Yeah, so they introduced Sydney Moon.
Okay.
At the end, because you remember the scene where like Miles' mom is going to go on a date with that guy, and it gets postponed to like pretty much the end of the game. And this is probably really racist of me, but no, it is what it is. It's an Asian guy who has a daughter named Cindy. I keep saying Sydney. Cindy's Asian in the comics, and her name is Cindy. So, like, that's all I need to know.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
She becomes Silk in the comics.
Silk, not Madam Web. Different characters. Got it.
So, in the comics, she gets bit by the same spider that bit Peter Parker. Which, put that spider down.
Yeah.
Because, like, that spider is on a rampage right now.
Yeah.
Spider got a kill streak.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was bit by the same spider that bit Peter Parker. And she actually has a pretty interesting backstory. I can't remember all of the exact details, but basically she was put in a bunker for like 10 years when, like, as a kid or something, because of some reason, like, there were people who were trying to come after her, like trying to kill her or something like that. So it was like for her own safety. So like whenever she comes out of the bunker, she's like 19 or 20, and she's like trying to navigate life, being like pretty much like a foreigner, but American born.
Is
like,
she more like an anti-hero, or does she embrace?
She's a hero.
She's a hero.
She becomes. I think at one point she's under what's her name? Black Cat's wing at one point, and then find out Black Cat's like a villain or something. There was like some type of like, I forget.
Yeah, like Black Cat just seems more like a petty thief, like not all bad, not all good, just has her own path that she chooses.
Yeah, but Cindy's a good person. She her and Peter become cool. I think they have a relationship at one point.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and something happens. I don't remember. I should have Googled it or something before this, because like that was actually one of my favorite comics, and it was a while since I read it, so I don't really remember it all like that. But I know she's dope.
Okay, so maybe we'll see in Spider-Man 3 playable characters in the Spider world. They form some kind of Spider team.
I kind of think it's going to be like a Gotham Knights type of scenario. Have you?
Hopefully with better execution.
Yeah, I didn't know that game was bad. I knew it existed and I forgot all about it.
Did you play it?
I never touched it.
I played it. I hated the story. Gameplay was I haven't touched it since. Like
That's fair.
I left a lot of like side missions open ended. I just didn't care enough about it. I mained Red Hood because I thought it was cool he had guns.
Right. Respectable.
But like it just wasn't good. It got stale by the end of it, and the way they bounced around, like you could choose which characters you wanted to play, and it didn't really affect the story as a whole. It just really mainly affected dialogue, because no matter what character you played as, what was going to happen in the main story happens. So a cutscene, you can see it as Red Hood, or you can see it as Batgirl, and that so I could see it. Like I see what you're saying, where you can have those different options, but I hope it's still true, and it will be true to the Insomniac version of a superhero game. Not, was it Warner Bros. Montreal that made Gotham Knights? Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, they fumbled the bag on that one.
Yeah, that's so. The review you gave just now is pretty much like the common like opinion that I've seen. Like pretty much no one likes the game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of surprising to me. I seen it launch or whatever, and I was excited for it up until like it actually came out, and I just kind of forgot about it, and then whatever. But yeah, I do think. So the way I think it's gonna go, or did you get into like how you see it going from here to Spider-Man?
Yeah. So like I just think that you'll see the three of them, Peter, Miles, and Silk. Yeah, and then they'll go up against Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and whatever else he has up his sleeve, and then the hero will come out on top, but at what cost? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like the premise I'm thinking it's going to go with. So
Aunt May comes back to life and then dies again. I'm calling it now. No, she's not.
Uncle Ben comes back with a gun.
He was never dead. He went out to buy milk.
Yeah,
he went to the store 20 years ago. But I think we're gonna get a Miles Morales 2. That's gonna be the next game. I think it's gonna feature Silk. I think Miles is basically going to be what Peter was to him.
Okay.
She's going to become a thing. Maybe it doesn't go as well. Like maybe because Miles, from what I remember, he like wanted to be a superhero. I think I don't really remember how it went down. Like once he got the powers, he was like, "Oh yeah, this is dope. I want to help out."
Yeah, he didn't know who to tell, and he like did the little trick where he threw himself on the ceiling, and then Peter did the same, and then they just kind of like he took him under his wing. Yeah.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. They pulled the old what was it, Step Brothers routine? Yeah.
I think it might be the exact opposite. Like maybe Miles figures out that she has powers and like tries to help her become like the Spider Woman that she could be, and she's like, "Nah, I ain't really about this life. My mom died because blah blah blah." And no, you be a superhero. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go chill. There's some anime I want to watch. So you got that.
I ain't about that life.
But I think something along the lines of that's going to happen. Maybe it ties in Black Cat again or something. Because like, what else is she going to do? But I think Spider-Man 3 is going to come out, and I think that's going to be the game where we're going to have like 3 or 4 playable characters or whatever. Maybe we get like a Gwen Stacy or something like that. And I think that'd be dope if it's those 4 characters. I do think 4 different storylines might be a little much, but
yeah, that'll be hard to pull off for sure. But it would be cool gameplay wise.
Yeah.
They do hint at the Spider-Verse at the end of one of the side quests too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At least they acknowledge that it's a thing. And Miguel is name dropped too, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Seen those spider bots that you like come across randomly? If you collect them all, there's a little cutscene that. Yeah. Again, spoiler stuff.
Okay.
But
again, get over it.
Yeah,
They'll be right. But I think that's cool. I think. Do you think with the newly announced Blade game there would be some type of interaction? Because that game takes place in Paris. I think. Yeah.
Maybe with Black Cat, because that's where Black Cat goes off.
Oh, Paris.
Okay. Yeah, because you open a portal for her. She opens a portal with Doctor Strange.
Right,
remember
right.
in the main story.
Yeah.
It's also coming out made by Bethesda.
Right.
So that could mean it doesn't release on PS5. I don't know if there's an official word yet because I know Microsoft owns Bethesda.
Yeah, so that's actually something that the internet's been saying, like, RIP PlayStation, not getting Blade game.
Which, I mean, if it comes to PS5, for sure I'll buy it, get it, play it. Mm-hmm. If not...
I'm telling you, get a PC. You don't know. I don't understand why Xboxes are a thing because, like...
this thing, I'm sorry.
Yeah, good. I don't understand why Xbox consoles are a thing because, like, pretty much most games are on PC now that are on Xbox. So, like, Lies of P that came out, that came out on Game Pass day one. I played it because I had Game Pass, like, on my PC. So I was like, I might as well try it. I didn't like it. But the point is, like, you know, consoles are a thing, or PCs are a thing that, like, you can play every single Xbox game on. And because of that along with Microsoft trying to get Game Pass on PlayStation and Nintendo. I don't know if you heard about that. They've been trying to do that for forever, apparently. I don't think Blade is going to be an exclusive, like, at all. Not even a little bit. I think Xbox is going to try to put that game on every single console it can. I think they would put it on Dreamcast if they could. Like, they would put it on everything.
Yeah, it might be one of those scenarios like with Call of Duty games that have come out in recent years where they might release, like, game specific content, like a skin or cosmetics, things like that you could use for your character that are exclusive to PC or Xbox, but like the bulk of the game will probably be released to all three, which again, if it releases to all three, I'll get it for my PlayStation. If not, I guess I just won't play it, or I'll look into getting a PC situation set up.
PC. Get a Steam Deck or something. Or like
I'll have to definitely look into that. That is something that interests me, so we'll see.
Yeah, I would say also with the Steam Decks or like just handheld PCs in general, because I don't know how much you know about that market. It's deep. Like there's a bunch of different devices you can get. You can pretty much connect any of them to a TV.
That's cool.
And connect your PS5 controller to it via Bluetooth and just play it as if it's like a regular like console.
Oh, nice.
So fun fact.
The more you know.
Yeah. Not a sponsored, not a paid advertisement. But the one thing that would draw me away from it, I guess, the Blade game, is if it's not in the Spider-Man universe, because I forgot that quickly that Bethesda is like developing it. So that means Insomniac is not developing it.
Yeah.
So
and just can only hope that it doesn't turn into like an Avengers game.
Yeah.
Catastrophe.
I forgot that game exists.
Everyone did. It's so bad you can't get it anywhere. I think they removed it from all the
Life. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can't play it.
They uninstalled it from everywhere. Yeah.
Which reminds me, they did somewhat redeem themselves with the Guardians of the Galaxy game. Did you play that one?
I didn't.
Good game. But it does get repetitive. I mean, the story's pretty cool, but the gameplay itself gets repetitive, and you can only play as Star-Lord. You can use the other Guardians for like special attacks. Okay. But you main Star-Lord, and he just has his pistols that do different things, and it's fun, but it definitely gets tiresome by the end of the story. Like you get to a point where, when does this end? Right. But it is miles ahead of the Avengers game, but I think a lot of people forget about it because it's released from the same studio.
So I actually played the Avengers game, like completed the main story.
I've done.
It hurt, not gonna lie. But the Black Panther DLC came out, and I was really excited for it. and I don't remember if it was free or not, but either way I got it, and I was looking really forward to playing it, and I played it, and turned it on, got 2 minutes into the game, and was like, all right, I think I'm good. I never beat it. Like, I never got past tutorial, basically. Like, it was, I don't know what it was, but like, I think that entire universe is such a great value MCU that like it bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, even as a child, it bothers me.
Yeah. I mean, the Spider-Man is brutal.
Oh, I didn't even see like is that not Insomniac Spider-Man?
No, it's a totally different Spider-Man. Oh. And it's not good. I only played the base game from start to finish. I've only seen like footage of the other heroes on it, but
okay.
I played a lot as Iron Man, which that's like one of my favorite heroes in general, but the game is just bad. Way too over the top with the cheesy, corny crap.
I hated everyone in that game, but I especially hated Iron Man.
Yeah, he was pretty unbearable.
Yeah, he was very annoying.
I just liked his tech.
You should have. Yeah, that's very valid.
Yeah, it'd be cool to fly around in an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, one day.
I
might print an Iron Man helmet, like from my 3D printer.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. My friend asked me to make a suit, or asked why I don't make a full suit, and those take months, and I'm good. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But all right, it's getting close to the time to wrap up, so I want to ask you to give me one hot take about anything ever that you think most people disagree with, or aka unpopular opinion. I don't know why I didn't just say that.
Okay. It can be on anything. Does that have to be related to Spider-Man, or just
ideally in the nerd space?
The nerds.
Okay. It could be about Game of Thrones. It could be about
makes sense.
Yeah.
I need. Is it okay if I take a second to think on this one?
Take as long as you need.
Okay. Hot take. My mind went to like just general, like chili is in a soup, like a hot dog.
Is it a sandwich?
Yeah, right. Which it is not. Just want to make.
Let us know in the comments if you agree.
Yeah. But my hot take, in the nerd realm, another show that I watch a lot that I got into from a relatively young age was The Walking Dead.
Okay.
So I'm gonna I think I might go that direction with this one.
Okay.
I don't know if have you watched The Walking Dead?
I have not. I've seen the memes.
Yeah,
I like the memes.
The memes are fantastic.
Yes.
I don't know, because I feel like I just what I'm about to say just goes with what a lot of people already think about how like the back half of the show is just not good.
Yeah, I think that's closer to our popular opinion. I think.
Yeah, popular opinion. So unpopular opinion would have to be. Okay, I think the Spot, is that his name in Across the Spider-Verse? Stupid, dumb character.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, I don't know, just a dumb character. I just feel like it was just, in terms of the character being written, people are like, what can we do that hasn't been done yet?
Right.
How about a guy that has spots? And then someone in the writing room's like, that is exactly
That's it.
That's it. That's the move. And they ran with it. Good on them.
Yeah.
Dumb character.
I agree. I mean, I think that was supposed to be the point, but at the same time, make it a better point. I don't know, because like he was supposed to be like a throwaway character who ended up being a problem. But I don't know. I feel like they could have done better with that.
Just, I know, kind of a maybe a lame hot take. I'm drawing blanks on the spot here.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to think of a random hot take, like just a random opinion that like most people don't agree with. I need to write a whole like list of mine, because like this is my theme. Like I'm going to ask everyone at the end of the show to like give a hot take.
I like that,
and I never have one off head.
Yeah,
so
now I need to like think about it. It's gonna keep me awake at night.
Yeah, as it should.
My heart's gonna be pounding. Just
I got it. I would say a hot take for nerd stuff is that I don't necessarily know if this is unpopular. I would assume it's popular, or it would be popular, just no one ever thought of this per se, or it's not like a common topic. I think if the DC universe would have went from Dark Knight to like that trilogy to Man of Steel, and continued off of the Dark Knight universe, it would have destroyed the MCU. I think the MCU would be like so irrelevant if like they would continue with the Dark Knight.
100%. I know that really wasn't Christopher Nolan's vision.
Right.
He had no, desire to do anything like that. But I agree. I mean, those movies were super popular.
Yeah.
By far. Well, yes and no. By far, I guess. To me, in my personal opinion, I think that that's the best portrayal of Batman that we've seen live action.
Definitely my favorite.
Yeah, I think my favorite. The best is where you get into like the specifics, referencing source material, et cetera, et cetera. But
I don't actually like any other Batman, to be honest.
Yeah, Pattinson was pretty cool. I want to see more character development on Bruce Wayne, but we'll save the Batman talk perhaps for another podcast.
Yeah, hey, feel free to stop by. We have a whole episode on Batman.
Yeah, no, I'd love to be back, but your podcast, so.
Yeah, let me look at my schedule real quick now that I have a schedule.
yeah, absolutely. This was a lot of fun though. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming through, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate you. Thank you for being my first guest. So there's that. I don't know if this is going to air. You'll be the first guest aired, be the first guest physically aired, like in time space, I guess. So
nice.
Keep that in mind.
Canon event right here.
There you go. This is what starts your podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man. But all right. Thank you guys. It's going to wrap up the whatever number episode of Backseat Binge. I'm your host, Moya. And let us know in the comments how you feel about the top 5 Spider-Man movies. What's your top 5? Where does Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse, across the Spider-Verse, I don't know what it's called. Where does Spider-Verse fit in your top 5? Is it in it at all? Is it number 1? How do you feel? Let us know. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
You know money seduces. It'll make you douche. It'll make you throw the deuces. Careful what you wish. It might be what you